Hey everyone, so today is going to be a non-traditional video, um, not vinyl video, but we will hold the vinyl, but as you can tell from the title of this video, we are doing the Beatles albums ranked. Um, like I said, we're not going to be showcasing the vinyl, but we have the ones that we own to, reference and look at the track list and everything as we're talking about them. But basically, we're going to be going from our least favorites to our most favorites. Um, and we have some similarities in our lists. Our number one is the same, so stay tuned for that. And like our last at the bottom of the list are also the same. And just a disclaimer before we get started, we don't hate any Beatles albums. There's not a single Beatles album that is bad, but obviously we have ones that we just hold close to our heart and that are our favorites. So, yeah, to get started, let's go ahead and start with number 13, which for both of us is Yellow Submarine.
Yes.
Which we kind of, we can justify that because half of the album is not a Beatles album. It's George Martin and his classical roots.
Yeah, I'm not interested in listening to that.
Yeah. And there are good songs on it, though, like Yellow Submarine, and my personal favorites altogether now, just because of how upbeat it is, and I think it's Paul singing. I just love Paul. He's my favorite.
I think my favorite song is All You Need Is Love.
Yeah.
Yeah, half of it's George Martin. I'm not really interested in that.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to like modern classical music. It's just not something that I'm into.
Yeah. George Martin obviously was a huge influence on the Beatles, but listening to the Beatles, not to George Martin.
If he wanted to make a record, he should have made a record.
Yeah. Alright, so our number 12 is also the same too, and that is Beatles for Sale, which was released in '64. Like we said, not a bad Beatles album or anything, but my personal favorite's probably I'll Follow the Sun. Again, I'm pretty sure it's a Paul song, but I just love the simple acoustic Beatles songs where it's really just like an acoustic guitar and like John or Paul singing, and there's not much else to it. I love the really complex stuff too, but I don't know, something about the really simple songs just they hit home for me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think my favorite is 8 Days a Week, and something about this album I really like the cover.
Yeah. Well, I like
the cover is really cool.
The photo effects at the bottom with like I forget what that's called, but it's like a beam of light and it's like orange and green down there. I think that's really cool. Cool. All right. Our number 11 pick, it's the last one that's the same for both of us besides our number one, is okay. This album is on the top 500 greatest albums of all time. So many people put it at the top of their Beatles albums ranked list, but both of us, while we like some songs, it's just not one of our absolute favorite Beatles albums. I'm talking about Revolver, which some people might be shocked about. I can appreciate a lot of the musical things that were done on that album, and it was kind of the transition from the really simple songs. There's just guitar and singing, and to the really complex where there's piano and flutes and horns and just violins and everything, and a lot of the experimental avant-garde stuff that you see later on. Kind of started with this album, but I mean, I really like Yellow Submarine, and a lot of people like Eleanor Rigby, stuff like that.
My favorite is Taxman.
Yeah.
Just because it's kind of more rock and roll than the other songs on it.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people this is a lot of people's in their top 5 Beatles albums.
Yeah. If not their number one.
Yeah, but it's not for me.
Yeah. It's definitely not top 5. It barely made it to top 10 for me.
Yeah.
No, it's not even top 10. It's number 11, so it's not top 10 either.
Right.
So yeah. Do you have anything else to say about Revolver?
I like the cover. Obviously, it's a great album, but it's just not in the top 10.
I personally, I don't know. I don't like covers that are just black and white, and I don't like covers that are just, I don't know, I just prefer the Beatles albums covers where you can see each and every member, and technically their faces are on the album, but it's not the same thing as like Beatles for Sale or Rubber Soul or Help or anything like that, where you can, distinctly figure out who's who.
Mm-hmm.
But, personal preferences.
Yeah.
Alright, so after 11, 12, and 13 is where our list gets all sorts of mixed up. My number 10 is Magical Mystery Tour. And actually, I think the movie's kind of cute too. But I really do enjoy, I Am the Walrus. Strawberry Fields is a great song. And actually, yeah, Strawberry Fields is the right one. They had released it before the album was released. But it didn't appear on an album until later on. So Strawberry Fields, I'm pretty sure that's the one where it had been out, but it didn't come out on an album until later on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are really good songs. I really like the music video for Strawberry Fields Forever too. So yeah, that's my number 10.
Alright, my number 10 is a shock to you, I think, because
Definitely.
it's one of your favorites.
Yeah.
My number 10 is Help. My favorite song on that, it's gotta be Yesterday, just because it's like pure Paul.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any other member played on that song.
On which one?
Yesterday.
No, that was
Just Paul and an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, which was
So
Paul's,
there's the album cover too.
Yeah.
Really cute album cover.
Yeah. Paul's first solo song.
Yeah, I heard that when he recorded it, they didn't want to include it because it was just Paul.
Yeah.
But the producers were like, we can't just release this song and not have it be a Beatles song because that'll eventually lead to them breaking up. So, so I made it to this
in
one.
the 60s.
And yeah, I really like this album. Top 10. So
yeah,
there you go.
Cool. Yeah, that's gonna be appearing later because that one for me is. But so number 9 now. This is actually what we have playing on in the background. This might come as a shock, maybe not. I can't remember if people rank this really high or not, but I'm talking about Let It Be. This has got some of my favorites, like Across the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
I also, The Long and Winding Road. That song just really, really hits me.
Yep.
And at this point in the Beatles' career, it was pretty much lots of Paul, which I really do enjoy.
I'm not complaining about.
No, yeah. I really do enjoy Paul as a songwriter and as a singer and as a musician. I don't know. I constantly, I go through this period where I'm, all, 65 and later on albums, and then all just the albums from earlier than that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a really good one. And I don't know, I don't know, I can never tell if Beatles knowledge is common Beatles knowledge, but if you believe in the conspiracy theory that Paul is dead, apparently this album cover reiterates that because everybody's got a white background except for Paul. He's got the red background.
I never knew that.
There's a bunch of stuff on the Sgt. Pepper album cover too.
Yeah.
I might be able to point out a few things I don't know, but I've looked into it. But
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, he's the only one that's on a red background.
It's because he's the best.
So yeah, my number 9, Let It Be.
Alright. My number 9 would be Hard Day's Night. And my favorite song would be And I Love Her. And if you haven't heard the Kurt Cobain version of that song, it's really good. Obviously, it doesn't beat the Beatles, but it's still pretty cool. I think it's on the Montage of Heck soundtrack.
Yeah.
What else can I say? I don't know. That's my number 9.
Cool.
Hard Day's Night.
Alright, so I'll move on with my number 8. Before I show you what it is, I don't know why. I think this is an American release, and the way it was released in America is not how it actually is. But this is the album that I'm talking about is with the Beatles, but this is Meet the Beatles, and it's got songs from With the Beatles on it, but it's not in the correct order at all, as you can see. And I'm pretty sure it's excluding some. But like I said, I am a sucker for really early Beatles. Mm-hmm. This was their second album. I really like It Won't Be Long, Till There Was You. I was singing that to my dog this morning. I mean, this is just, it's got the really great, like, cute acoustic, or, you know, just classic Beatles songs on it. So
I don't know why America, like, messes with their albums.
I don't know. The releases are so strange.
It's just another reason why America sucks, I guess.
Just yet another reason. So yeah, it's Meet the Beatles, but it's supposed to be With the Beatles. It's got the With the Beatles cover and the same font and everything, but it says Meet the Beatles, but that's not right.
Alright. Okay, my number 8 would be Let It Be. I like this album because it's a lot more rock and roll than a lot of the other ones. And whenever I see this cover, I just think of that rooftop show.
Oh my god, don't get me started.
Which is so
please,
awesome.
dear God.
If I could go to any, like, if I could teleport to any, like, past concert, that would have to be in, like, the top 10 at least.
Oh my, oh my gosh. That's partly why, like, all the songs on here really hit me, is because I think of that concert.
And what about Paul with a beard?
I know. He's so cute.
You gotta love that. Yeah, like you said, mostly Paul, but I'm not complaining. I mean, if it were up to me, I would take, like, every song John Lennon ever sang and have Paul sing it. So,
I don't know about that.
I just don't like John as a person.
Yeah.
I really don't. It's like a Kiss thing for me. I can't respect the members, and I can't really respect him except for his songwriting and, you know, musical ability.
Personally, if we're gonna get into this right now, I used to really hate John Lennon too.
Yeah.
But after learning about basically the startup of the Beatles and how, like, pretty much the Beatles wouldn't really be a thing without John.
Obviously, yeah.
The Beatles wouldn't be a thing either without Paul, because, I mean, Paul had to meet John, but John, you know, contributed so much to their early songwriting.
Absolutely.
So,
again, it's like the Kiss thing. Paul and Gene, some of the best songwriters ever.
Yeah.
But their personality just sucks.
Yeah.
So, but, oh well.
Yeah.
It's still great music. So, yeah.
I like John now more than I did a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him more as, like, the young looking right there.
Yeah.
Rather than his hippie look. But,
Yeah.
you know, who cares? That's my number 8.
Alright, so number 7. I don't know if this is a shock to you or not, because I know you rank this album pretty high. I think it's a little bit unfair, because this is technically 2 albums, so obviously there's a lot of good songs. But to me, there's a lot of songs that just don't, like, they really don't hit me as hard as some, you know, other albums do, and I don't know how controversial this would be if I said it, but I kind of wish White Album was condensed into one. Yeah, I know you probably don't agree, but I don't know. I feel like there's, like, maybe 5 or 6 songs on the first side, and then 5 or 6 songs on the second side that could have been just, you know, 12, maybe 14. You know, I don't know. But anyway, I do like this album. And obviously, you know, it's number 7 on my list. It's not the last one, which is good. I love Obla Dia, Obla Da. I love Julia. I obviously, you know, how can you talk about this album without talking about Helter Skelter?
Yeah.
Such a heavy song for the 60s.
A lot of people consider that, like, the first heavy metal song.
Yeah. I mean, Ringo was literally beating the crap out of that drum set. So, I mean, I wouldn't argue. So yeah, that's my number 7.
Alright. My number 7 would be Magical Mystery Tour. And whenever I hear that title, I just think of Typo Negative covering it. Because they covered Magical Mystery Tour in, like, 2007 or something.
Yeah.
My favorite song from it is Penny Lane.
That's a good one.
Love the cover.
Really creative, I think.
Yeah.
Alright. So, on to number 6. Mine has got to be Hard Day's Night. That's really great for me. It's got "And I Love Her," "If I Fell." I just love the classic love songs, and again, I really like the album cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I actually recreated. I had to do a project, and we had to recreate that album cover. So I had to take a bunch of pictures of me. I think I was Paul. Yeah, I think it was Paul. Maybe
Nice.
maybe George. Maybe George. I can't really remember.
All right.
All right. Yeah, that's my number 6.
Okay. My number 6 would be With the Beatles.
Not Meet the Beatles.
Right. I think I tend to like their earlier stuff more than later half.
Yeah.
My favorite song in here is definitely "All My Loving." That's probably in my top 3 Beatles songs of all time. Yeah, they're just so cute.
I know.
And this is like, I don't know, it's just a great album.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and that album cover is great too.
I was just about to say.
I feel like if this was gone and it was just the full black, this was all black and it just had their pictures, it would be better than having this big thing up here. But you know,
60s is a different time.
Yeah. I really love black and white stuff. So yeah.
I mean, so many bands obviously took their inspiration from this album cover.
Yeah.
How can you look at Queen's album cover and not think of this one?
Or the first Kiss album again.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
So, now we're getting into the top 5.
Yes.
Which is the best part.
Yes.
After listening to the entire Beatles discography, I absolutely knew that this song, or not song, but this album was going to be in my top 5. What a debut album. What a debut album.
Mm-hmm.
Please Please Me. They recorded this album in 12 hours. In one 12-hour sitting. They just went to the studio and they just cranked it all out.
Yeah.
This has got some of my absolute favorite Beatles songs on it. It's got Misery. It's got Anna, which I love. And it's actually interesting because their early Beatles albums, such as this, and then With the Beatles, and so maybe A Hard Day's Night, half were covers, half were originals, and then later on they didn't do barely any covers. Mm-hmm. But even the covers on this album, like Anna and Boys, just really great songs. And Do You Want to Know a Secret, A Taste of Honey, anytime I listen to the Beatles, I listen to those songs.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously an iconic Image that was on, was it the red or blue that came first?
God, I think it was, I want to say blue.
Okay. Well, then, obviously, the other one, whichever one it was, they recreated that same image, so, which I think is so unique. I should have brought those. Really cool. I have those too, but...
Oh, yeah.
Alright. So, yeah, Please Please Me. You can't... I mean, this is such a great album.
Alright. For my number 5, I have to go with the White Album, which I wish we had on vinyl.
Yeah.
Because when I heard that album, I was pretty blown away because there's so many different genres in it. Yeah. There's hints of jazz, there's hints of experimental proggy stuff, rock and roll stuff, blues. Mm-hmm. There's so many genres in that one album. And like you said, you wanted to condense it down. I like the weird tracks in between, Honey Pie. You gotta be high to record that. So, the album is just, I hate the album cover. I really hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it when bands have, a fantastic album and they waste the opportunity to make, even more art with the album cover.
Are you subtweeting Metallica right now?
Yeah. Black Album. I just hate it when bands waste the opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the music speaks for itself, so you don't really need an album cover, but it's just
makes it better.
It's just another way to, put more art in the world. And I think they should have chosen something else.
Yeah. It just really enhances the album. Imagine if Sgt. Pepper was just a red cover or something. You know, it just
I
wouldn't
don't,
be
I don't,
as unique.
yeah, I don't think it'd be the same.
Yeah. The experience would be different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So my number 4.
Oh, my favorite song from the White
Okay.
Album.
Yeah.
Glass Onion.
That's a good one.
Definitely. I really like that one because it references past songs, kind of like Megadeth does with the song Victory from Euthanasia. I like it when bands like take a retrospective look and write songs about their history pretty much. I think that's pretty cool.
Mine's probably Revolution number 9.
Number 9?
No, I'm just kidding. That's so the first listen to that, I was like, this is going somewhere and I don't know where it's going.
That's another example of a different genre.
Yeah.
That's like a Pink Floyd thing or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, God yes. The Beatles, if you listen to the first 3, 4, or 5 Pink Floyd albums, they're so heavily influenced by the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
Not like the sing-songy pop hits, but like the experimental stuff from White Album onward, or Sgt. Pepper onward. It's really a big influence on Pink Floyd.
Alice Cooper takes so much influence from the Beatles too.
Yeah.
Definitely on his first 2 albums.
Yeah.
It's like they could easily be Beatles songs.
Yeah.
So.
Alright, so now we're in the top 4. And this album, I don't know why I don't have it on vinyl yet, but I will one day. And this is the, stereotypical starter vinyl, Beatles vinyl for anybody. I'm talking about Abbey Road. This is really high up on my list. I honestly can't remember the first Beatles album that I listened to all the way through because I've always listened to the Beatles, but the Beatles Abbey Road I've listened to like my whole life, and I mean it's just got classics on it. And obviously, I mean, if we're going to talk about album covers, what more iconic one than them walking across that street? And I know somewhere you can pull it up online. You can look at that street now, and it's kind of weird. It's got zigzags on it. Another reason for the Paul is dead conspiracy.
Because he didn't have shoes on?
Well, and he was holding a cigarette, and he was holding a cigarette in the wrong hand. So he was left-handed, but something like he was holding it in his right hand. Oh yeah, he was holding it in his right hand, but he's left-handed, and so that means that it's the fake Paul because they hired a replacement Paul, and that's not the real Paul.
Was he the one without the shoes on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Abbey Road. My favorites are Maxwell's Silver Hammer, Octopus's Garden. Today, nonstop, I've been listening to Golden Slumbers, and even though it's a 1.5-minute song, I mean, the message and Paul's voice just like really, really hits me hard. So I adore Abbey Road. It's just classic. So yeah, that's my number 4.
All right, my number 4 is Please Please Me. Like you said, this is such a great debut album. I mean, not many bands could come out like right away and put out like a top 5 album.
Yeah.
I think my favorite song is Anna.
Great one.
Yeah.
Great one.
Definitely that one, and probably Chains. I really don't like this album cover.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
like
it.
Well, the font is wonky.
The font is dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, I don't know. I think if it was just this picture, it'd be cool.
Yeah. What about the Beatles? Like
that's okay. It just looks messy down here. I don't know. Yeah. It's just nitpicky, but yeah. I'm really big on album covers.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like I don't know. I think back in the 60s, they would have a picture and then it would be like, this album with these songs and this band.
They really had to hide it.
On this label.
Yeah.
They had so much extra stuff around it.
Yeah. I'm just really big on album covers.
Yeah.
I'm really picky. I don't know. Just because I love them so much. So, yep. That's my number 4.
All right. So now we're moving on to the top 3. And this album has already been brought up. It was low in your list, and you knew I was going to talk about it. I don't know what to say. This is, like, the best early Beatles album to me. Pre-65, this is it. Help. And it's also the best Beatles movie. It really is. I love the album cover. Just every song on here is just bop after bop after bop. For me personally, it just, I don't know. It's like when I first heard "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away," that song did it for me. And then also there's "Ticket to Ride," "Tell Me What You See," "I've Just Seen a Face," "Yesterday." I mean, the list just goes on. I don't really have anything to say besides if you haven't listened to this album, which I'm sure you have, but if this isn't in, your top, maybe listen to it again. Because I love it. I really do.
Let me see that real quick. Why does it look like they're wearing Docs?
Let me see.
Looks like they're all wearing Doc Martens.
Well, they were in the snow, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so that's my number 3.
Okay. My number 3 is easily Abbey Road, which I wish we had on vinyl. We need to get that. We need to get that.
We will one day.
My favorite song is "Here Comes the Sun,"
Mm-hmm.
and I really like the cover that Ghost did of that too.
Mm-hmm. Good one.
Maxwell Silverhammer. I mean, that song is straight up about murder.
It's a good song.
It's kind of crazy. I wonder if that was controversial back in the day.
What's that guy's name? He's the one, I forget. Beatles, people know. The guy, what was it name? Yeah, Mal Evans. That's who it is. He's the one who was hitting the hammer. And it's funny to see from, like, the documentary or movie about it, because everybody's in the studio and then you just see him going, or hitting the hammer on the anvil going, bang, bang.
It's just really so cool. Weird because it's an upbeat song, but it's straight up about murder, which is really cool.
Oh my god! You're not even gonna smile or anything, which is really cool.
It is. I mean, hey, and
I love murder.
The album cover is great too.
Yeah.
One of their best album covers.
Definitely.
So yeah.
All right. You ready for top 2?
Yeah.
All right. So, is our top 2 the same? Oh, our top 2's the same. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, obviously, if you've made it this far, you probably know, after I say this, what the next one's going to be. But this album used to be both of our number 1s, right?
Yeah.
It used to be really up there until we really spent the time to listen to all the albums.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, Sgt. Pepper.
Yep.
Obviously. I mean, when you think of the Beatles, you think of Sgt. Pepper. And this is, I think this is the number 1 for the top 500 Rolling Stones albums. I think this is number 1.
Of all time?
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's fair. This album is a must listen to for any Beatles fan, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, this was the first Gatefold album.
Ooh.
So shout out to the Beatles for releasing on Gatefold.
I love Gatefold.
Yeah. There's something about... Oh, yeah, because the guitar down here at the bottom is a P. Mm-hmm. Apparently, this is supposed to be a funeral for Paul, or something like that.
What's your favorite thing about that album cover?
Honestly, I love George's outfit.
All right.
I love his hat. I love seeing I don't know. I love that outfit. I don't know why. His outfit just really sticks out to me.
My favorite thing about this cover is definitely Edgar Allan Poe up there.
Shout out to Poe.
Yeah, shout out to Edgar Allan Poe.
There's so many
Bob
people
Dylan
on there.
Over there, and
yeah.
There's this really creepy guy on here too. Yes, This guy right here. What is up with that guy?
I'm sure you can find somewhere.
That is scary.
Yeah, he is scary.
Yeah. Oh, here's another little thing. There's a little doll with a Rolling Stones shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a little slight to the Rolling Stones, maybe?
No, because the Rolling Stones and the Beatles were really close.
Ah.
Yeah. I mean, the Beatles wrote the Rolling Stones' first hit, so.
I would have thought with the rivalry they would have been, but that's cool. I'm not sure what pressing this is, but it comes with this really cool insert
Yeah.
that you're supposed to cut out, but I'm not cutting it out.
We can cut that out.
Hell no. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song?
Honestly, it's kind of personal. Well, When I'm 64 is really great.
Yeah.
But A Day in the Life, when it like really speeds up, that's the one that speeds up, right?
I think so.
When it speeds up and then it just like hits, I don't know. It just really, there's some personal stuff there, but it just reminds me of a bad experience I've had, and it was kind of like really, it just really feels like that same experience. And for some reason, because it like recreates that experience for me, I really like it because it's just so accurate. But I also really like She's Leaving Home, and Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite is so unique because John Lennon just walked into it was either a museum or, no, I think it was an antique shop, saw an antique poster about trapeze guy and the circus, and literally took pretty much 99% of the lyrics from that poster.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think my favorite song is Getting Better, just because it makes me feel really, really happy.
Yeah, that's a really upbeat song.
Yep, that's a really upbeat album.
Yeah.
So.
And did so much for music.
Oh,
I mean, so much. We can't even go. I mean, there's so much to say.
And you could look at this cover all day. And
Yeah.
find, like the Beatles from like the Ed Sullivan Show right there, and
Yeah.
then Sgt. Pepper.
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah, you could stare at it all day long.
Pretty much.
So do so. Pause the video.
All right. So now it has come to both of our number ones, and obviously we know which one
This
we're
is
talking
our
about
fucking baby.
now. That's it right there. That's it, y'all. All right, subscribe. See y'all later.
There's nothing to say about this album other than it's absolutely incredible. Why is it your favorite?
The period between early Beatles and later Beatles, you get the best of both worlds right here.
Yeah.
You get the sing-songy, you get the simplicity, but then you also get, the experimental, but not too much. You get the sitar, and you get some like crazy instruments later, but it's the best of both worlds, and it's just jam-packed full of songs.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, I really like the Beatles when they're like acoustic.
Yeah.
Which you get on Norwegian Wood, which is an incredible song, and Nowhere Man is such a great song too.
Yeah.
My favorite from this, I think, is Think for Yourself, which is kind of weird because not a lot of George Harrison songs are my favorite.
Yeah.
But that one's really, that one's really good.
Yeah.
Just every song on this is incredible.
Yeah. I also really enjoy that George gets to really like showcase his talents on this album.
Yeah, there's more guitar on it.
Because I really, George and Ringo, they both deserve the credit.
Speaking of Ringo, I forgot to mention on Abbey Road, Octopus Garden is a great song.
Yeah.
A lot of people shit on that song.
That's like,
it's
what?
Awesome. It's
no
awesome.
way. That's like one of my favorite Beatles songs. Anyway, my favorite tracks, I honestly didn't know much about Norwegian Wood until you learned to play it on guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my favorites now. But Michelle and Girl, those are just such good songs.
Mm-hmm.
And something about on Girl, when John Lennon goes, it's like, I don't know. It just.
I wonder if that was controversial back then.
That was a sharp inhale.
It was sexual.
Yeah. Definitely. So, I don't know, something about that song, something about this album. Love the album cover.
Oh my god, the album cover is great.
Does it get better than that font?
Yeah, really. And like, I can just imagine like the whole scene. Like it looks like a cold day in like England.
Yeah.
And they're with the trees like in some type of like woods or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just really cozy.
And that album cover, it was kind of an accident because the photographer took it, but then like it was kind of warped. I mean, it doesn't look like too warped, but you know, like the way it goes up, because you know how would they be able to stand like that? But then Paul was like, "Oh no, it's rubber," you know, like because it's so bendy and stuff, and that's the reason for the title, because they got a
Nice.
rubber sole.
Nice. I think the colors just all go very well together.
Yeah.
Perfect choice for the color of that font.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Let's.
I mean, we could sit here and talk about this all day.
I know.
Also, Paul smoking, very cute.
Let's not forget about "In My Life," which is such a covered song. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that like one of the most covered songs?
Something like that.
But I've never heard anybody cover it.
I've heard people cover it.
You have?
Yeah.
Who?
I don't know.
Oh.
I just heard a lot of covers.
All right.
And then "What Goes On," like Ringo. Gotta love him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's great. He's a good. I don't know if he wrote. I think he wrote that song.
Yeah.
Obviously, he sings it, but. All right. This was a longer video than intended to be, but if you stuck around, thank you. I kind of like the idea of doing ranked videos.
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing maybe Metallica or Marilyn Manson.
That'd be cool.
Or something like that. Maybe Slayer, you know, a metal one to mix it up. So let us know what your favorite Beatles album is down in the comments. Do you agree with Rubber Soul? Is it Sgt. Pepper? Is it Abbey Road? Are you one of the people that loves Revolver, even though it's really down low on our list? Let us know. And thanks for sticking around, and thanks for watching this video.
Yes, thank you.
All right.